Hey, riders! Welcome back to another exciting installment on our YouTube channel. Now, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad you clicked on this link, and I'm glad to be back in Texas. Not so much back in Texas, but like actually it's back home. I miss my family, my friends. A lot of you guys that I haven't really been able to talk to on the road, working long hours, getting home late, picking the fucking first prop that I get to as soon as I sign on at fucking like 7 o'clock at night. Anyways, the lack of research, the lack of looking into it whatsoever, has got me in a pretty bad spot as far as going from like 15-2 to fucking whatever I am. That being said, to no one's fault but my own is that result, and we'll try to really look into some of these tonight. I kind of, as I mentioned before, I'm not really excited to be back in Texas so much as I am to be home. Two main reasons why I really miss Louisiana, even though I just fucking rolled in here, is that, the United States, no one's going to argue, is a police state, but Texas is definitely the police state. And already, down I-10, 10, or I-45, 105 is what I was going to say, which, if you've been to Texas, that's kind of where I am, letting you know a little bit too much about myself here, but anyways, we're not here to hear about my life, we're here to hear about sports, and I have to say that, just to wrap that thought off, two main reasons, one being the cops, the pigs, the buzz, the 5-0, another being Cajun food. God damn, you won't believe my freezer. I got a whole bunch of good stuff that I picked up at the best pit stop there. If you've been to Louisiana, probably around the Lafayette, just on the other, I guess, west side of Lafayette, a place called The Best. And you got to go check their shit out. If you're ever in town, the boudin, just off the chain. I swear to God, it bites you back. Anyway, I'm going to throw some out in my smoker as soon as I wrap this up with you guys. But like I said just about a minute ago, you don't want to hear about my life, you want to hear about sports. And let's go ahead and dive into this thing. Right off the bat, we got here, no pun intended, New York Yankees at the Baltimore Orioles. Keep in mind that New York is just a fucking stone's throw away from Maryland, so this is hardly what you consider a road game. Myself, just coming back from the road, you can get pretty at home when you're on the road. And just being so close, I really want to look to Baltimore having much of a home advantage here, and it obviously seems that no one really is as far as the sheep, concept goes. Also considering the fact that Kudor is a pretty phenomenal pitcher. He's probably the best guy that the Yankees have in their arsenal to go on the mound. And I like to back him up tonight. I do have him on my fantasy team, and so a little bit biased towards him. I kind of hope that he wants to win, so I kind of assume he will win. I'm starting him. So take that with a grain of salt, but also keep in mind that both these guys are pretty solid. So I look for no runs scored in the first inning, which is the second prop thereafter. However, I really think this would be like a 5-4 sort of game that could go either way. In my heart, I want it to be Yankees, but in my head, I really think Orioles might take this one. Not a strong play unless you're really trying to, just keep it baseball for whatever reason. To the same effect, I'm trying to keep it hockey for whatever reason. And so I'll just move right on ahead to this NHL playoffs game with the Pittsburgh Penguins playing again in Ottawa against the Senators. And before I touch on who I think will win and why, I'll go ahead and get into this user-submitted prop that is relevant to it, and go ahead and assume that, with Anderson and Bokun both being pretty fucking awesome goalies, the any other result in this case, which I don't know why they have it phrased as 0 or 1, it seems a little bit too specific, I guess. But the 2 goals or more, it definitely could happen with a 1-1 sort of result. Also, I'll go ahead and preview who I think will win by saying that Pittsburgh could go up 2-0. I really think they'll be on fire. Malkin, I'll get into that in a second. But anyways, I really think that the under or the any other result or the 0 and 1 goal, 3 different options for the same pick, I think that's the way to go if you're looking to just maximize your picks tonight. Really, I see a lot of defense in these Ottawa games playing in the hometown. And last game, 0 points scored with the third game, the first one in Ottawa. I really don't see much change to that effect. And so, like I've been kind of going on and off about, I really see the lower score being the way to go. Now go ahead and capitalize on what I've been previewing a little bit when I said the Penguins can be up 2-0, perhaps, but don't. Again, let me just say I don't think it'll happen. But If they are, then great, because I'll be picking the Penguins. I really think that, despite there being no scoring in the first and only one score in the second, one score in the third, and one score in the second overtime, you're looking at a lot of defense in this game. And even Vokun, he got the loss, but he was looking at something like 28 shots on goal from Ottawa in regulation, where Pittsburgh offered Anderson 32 shots on goal. Now, that being said, we'll kind of discuss why Pittsburgh had so many opportunities, but I want to go ahead and say that Pittsburgh, in the second period, went up 1-0 with just over a minute left, and so you're looking at basically two entire periods of no scoring there. And not to say that it wasn't action-filled. A lot of people look at the score and say, like, that was a pretty fucking boring game. But if you weren't watching it, there was a ton of hits. We're looking at something like 34 hits for Pittsburgh and 47 fucking hits for Ottawa. Now, Ottawa's the team that will pack a punch. That's their style of play. They're very intimidating, especially at home. And that's why I think they got the win in the end. That being said, I really don't think that style of play really did much for the Penguins' psyche. Now, like I said, it did get them the win, Ottawa that is, but Pittsburgh went ahead and fired off 50 shots on goal in the entire game. Like, even though I said only 32 were in regulation, and you're looking at almost 20 minutes played outside of regulation to get that extra 20 or, what was it, 16... 18 shots on goal. Has 20 for Ottawa, 18 for Pittsburgh in the overtime. Anyway, looking at a lot of shots. Even though it's very defensive, you got a lot of people shooting on goal. And Pittsburgh hit the pipe a lot. You heard a lot of dings and a lot of people getting robbed. Malkin himself had 10 shots on goal, and he was the reason why Pittsburgh did not win. My wife just walked in. So, anyways, Malkin's the reason why the defense sort of fell apart for Pittsburgh, and so I really think that he'll come back in this game and kind of put the team on his shoulders, kind of like he did in the first game at Ottawa, third game in the series. But I don't see Ottawa pulling ahead like they did and tying this thing up. I really don't think that they got in Pittsburgh's head so much, but anyways, Pittsburgh is about 30 seconds away from taking this series to 3-0, which would really put a lot of pressure on the Senators. And I think that in that case, Senators will probably win the fourth game, because I really think they're going to split this in the homestands. But since they won that first one, this is pretty much a wild card here. And even though Pittsburgh was doing all they can, they were 0-6 on the power play, which pretty pathetic if you ask me. Ottawa, on the other hand, was also 0-3 on their power play, even at home. But the game tire was actually a shorthanded goal that Pittsburgh really fucked up. And like I said before, Malkin was the guilty party in this one. So I really think that he'll go ahead and carry his team. Probably get a couple goals himself, or at least be involved in some of the goals with some points. Like I said, the first overtime stayed tied, so you're looking at almost three entire periods that were virtually scoreless in this series and third game. And I see a lot of that happening here in the fourth game. You had Malkin with 10 shots on goal, Letang was, I think, 7 shots on goal, and the rest, pretty much scattered around. Crosby really didn't shine in this game, and I really think that, they got too good of a team to really just fall back tie it up in this series, even though, we all are pretty sure that Pittsburgh will win the series. They really need to close this one out. And while Ottawa had about 4 guys with 5 shots on goal, and that's pretty even distribution of shooting, but within that 4 was Alfredson, who actually got the tying score right there with 30 seconds left in the game on a shorthand. So you got to watch out for that guy. You got to watch out for Ottawa. They play very fierce. Now, this isn't a streak kind of pick. If you have something like my man Texas Raiders here with the win 9, I wouldn't pick the Penguins myself. If I had a win 9, maybe I would. But I really think that I'd wait a game before picking the Penguins. Wait for them to get back home. Ottawa could definitely tie this one up. That being said, I'm going to be picking the Penguins. I really think they've got the talent I think they'll win this series in 5 games. Ottawa got what they were hoping for, and getting at least a win out of this. And I think that's where it'll stay, just one win. And that's really my thoughts on that. Moving along, we got the Pacers at the Heat. Now I do think the Heat will win this game, but I'm really putting them at 5 points, 6 points maybe even less. Pacers are a pretty stout team, and Heat have shown their vulnerability in the previous rounds. This being game 1 at home, I really think that Heat will pull this off. But not by 10 points, at least not to me. Some of the other guys in the group might have a little bit more insight on this, but 10 points is pretty much a lot, especially for the conference finals. Pretty silly, in my opinion. And just as well, the Pacers are probably going to get more field goals than LeBron's going to get points. Even though they give LeBron the tie, I really think that he's going to need something between 30 and 45 points, and to narrow this down more about 38 to 41, maybe 38 to 42 points, and I really just don't see him getting that, not tonight at least. Maybe some game, but it's really foolish to pinpoint one game that he's going to be playing that well. Anyways, so just to wrap that up, I think, let me go ahead and mention that I think the Cardinals are a pretty good pick at the end of the night. However, if you're looking for a nightcap, I would definitely take Pacers single-digit win or loss, whatever. Just wrapping up real quick, Cardinals on the road, I think they'll take the win, to take my word for it. But I think Pacers get more field goals made and also keep the game close enough to get that single-digit loss or a win. Who knows? I also think there's going to be a low-scoring first period for the Pittsburgh and Ottawa game. I think in the end, Pittsburgh will take that one back home with a 3-1 lead. Looking for like a 3-2 sort of game with that one. Really think if you're a betting man, you should probably look at the Ottawa Senators, the +1. I think you can get that somewhere around 220. I believe. Anyway, that's probably the way to go on that one. That being said, I've actually read some guys, blogs or whatever that have said they're going to be taking the Pittsburgh's points. I really think, that's probably something to look into as well, because Pittsburgh's going to come out firing. They're not really one of those teams, oh man, we got our asses kicked, because they didn't really. And I think they'll go ahead and, put their foot down, skate down, whatever you want to say. And they'll go ahead and take charge of that game. Pittsburgh in that game, I like no runs scored in the first inning in the baseball, and also Yankees on the road, but wouldn't put a whole pile of wins on that one. Anyway, glad to be back. Hope you all guys having a great time, and I will be going out of town basically for the next couple of days as well, and probably won't be having much time to do this again. But that being said, cheers. See you in the group.